Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of our wrestling review show here on our YouTube channel, Matt and John Make a Podcast. Again, like always, here after Friday Night Smackdown, giving our thoughts and opinions about, well, obviously Smackdown, Monday Night Raw, AEW, and NXT, and, well, anything else newsworthy in the wrestling world. But like as always, we start off with the newest show on our minds that we just saw, Friday Night Smackdown. That just got off the air with the return of Edge. The big thing going into tonight was obviously Edge appearing as he was the last two shows, NXT and Raw. Just stirring the pot, teasing little teases of who he's going to face. We open up the show with our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, laying down the law, demanding an answer tonight.
Yeah, and as I texted you earlier tonight, I was like, well, if I wasn't sold on Edge versus Reigns already, this only kind of confirmed it, and just based off of all of the confrontations that Edge has had with like number two, Finn and like Roman Reigns, it's just there's. And we said this on our Rumble reaction. It's the only match that really makes any sense as far as a like main event level match. I don't see that with like McIntyre. I definitely do not see that with like Finn Balor.
No.
And man, it already feels extremely personal already, and just after like 5 minutes, like it just Roman just talking about like how he felt just completely just slighted that he was forcing him to actually wait to find out if he was going to actually choose Roman at like WrestleMania. And man, whenever this does become official matches, the week to week segments by these two is just going to be incredible. I really cannot wait until they finally do, when they do finally make that official, because and we were kind of expecting this, like we aren't going to be getting any answers. I think at least until the Elimination Chamber, I think it is when we'll.
It's definitely, and if you follow through with this, because sometimes they don't. But if you watched NXT, he said, "I'm going to wait until after Takeover." He wants to see Balor and Pete Dunne go at it, which makes sense. You want to scout your competition, even though in we know it's most likely going to be Roman, but the Finn Balor Pete Dunne segment I really liked, just talking on both guys, putting both guys over, and pointing out that he had never had the NXT championship, albeit when he was here, NXT was really nothing. But still, you have that place, that seed of, well, yeah, that makes sense. He never had that. Add that to the resume.
Right.
Obviously, we know, but that's besides the point. You're telling this. You're not telling the story by telling the first chapter and then saying the end.
No. And
you got to do it.
Mm-hmm. But absolutely, and to me, it's kind of silly that they wouldn't involve NXT, which is why I'm not exactly sure why Bianca wouldn't do that. But then again, her whole thinking could be like, well, I mean, like she
was just there.
Yeah, she was like just there, so I can kind of understand that word as an Edge, especially too if you recall from NXT, Edge said NXT is like what got me back
No.
into wrestling, and he's actually has said this on his podcast with Christian that he had a few years ago, was just like between that and seeing AJ versus John Cena, that really got him back as well. So it's just it only made sense. But
Yeah, that was it was logical stuff. Yeah.
right.
I was good. I mean, just I think this promo by Roman was one of a top notch, scaring Paul Heyman with
Yeah.
he started the yell, like
Why
all
would
the
you
little
play games with me?
when you're playing games. When you're like, why? And you just Heyman going,
Oh,
ah.
like, and you could, and like pissed off Roman is pretty freaking frightening. When you see him, like, because as you recall, Matt, from his babyface run, like he was never like this. Like he was
Oh
always
no.
pretty cool, calm, and collected. Here, like this was like just pent out rage and just and everything here. So like that was a like he's definitely a lot more ambitious, which is probably why so many people love his character. It's just he's just he has a certain intensity and a certain main streak that he never really had when he was just the 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 the, the like pig dog. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And then
So after that we had another rematch on like Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry.
correction.
Dominic Mysterio versus our Possum King, King Corbin. Um, why is this match happening
I don't know.
again?
There's some I don't know. There's some end game.
I'm just like and the only thing I said to myself, I was like, there is zero chance Corbin is getting another win here. He's already beat. He's already
Yeah.
beat like Dominic 2 times prior. I'm like, well, pretty obvious who's going to win here. So
With some cheating.
yeah, that was kind of weird too. But they were pulling the old Eddie and everything there. I'm like, okay, whatever. I still don't care about this feud here. But um, any, any thoughts on that there, man? Or
I'm just wondering where they're going with it. What's the
exactly.
end game?
And that's my question as well. And something that we could also say about Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. I don't exactly know what
I
they are doing
I
here.
I think it's Daniel Bryan just putting people over and doesn't care if he wins. I think
Yeah,
I think that
has to
I
be.
think that's his call.
Mhm.
I think he's probably winding down. It's
Mhm.
been subtly teased. Like for him, he probably thinks, why I don't need the win anymore.
No.
Let me give these other guys wins, build them up. Cesaro's been, criminally underutilized for a while now.
Mhm.
There looks like they're building him up since now he has a uh, new contract. They've
Yeah.
building Shinsuke up because he was watching the back and he was talking to Edge, not as much as a strong rub like Damian Priest did on Monday or
Mhm.
got on Monday. But they're trying to
Yeah.
showcase him, and I think it's just Daniel Bryan. Just like
Yeah.
we'll see, storyline where they go, but I don't think he cares
No.
right now.
And speaking of Cesaro, as like you mentioned, Matt, is being reported by like Dave Meltzer, that either Cesaro has like verbally agreed
Yeah.
to, or like he's going to be signing a new contract. I believe his contract was slated to be over slightly after like WrestleMania. and like predictably, there were a lot of people really, really angry about this. But like I think a lot of people need to
Why?
understand. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people, and specifically wrestling fans, need to understand everyone's priorities are completely different from everyone else's. Not everyone is going to be a like John Moxley. Not everyone is going to be a Sean Spears or a like Rusev or someone who clearly won it out. And something else that someone brought up as well, Matt. Along with his current pay, he's also really big on with Xavier on up
Yeah.
down down. He's probably getting a good amount of pay from that.
Hmm.
So say he were to exactly leave and go to a AEW or over in Japan, how's it going to exactly make up a lot of that income there? It's just
He would have to sell his. He would have to stream on his own,
right.
sell his own merch.
Yeah, exactly. And two, something else we need to consider as well. He's on 40 now. So like he's at
Doesn't look like
this
it.
he
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 is.
does he doesn't look like it, but he's been doing this for quite some time
Yeah.
now, and he's just trying to make as much as he can before he has to eventually hang them up here. So it's honestly I feel it's smart on him his end, and and guys, we're at this point now where not everyone is going to be signing with AEW. That freaking roster is already crowded as it is right now. So
Mhm. I swear every week I see somebody new.
exactly. So it's just like
Yeah, it's
you
not.
know
It's
it's
we're not.
so,
It's not always all contract up. They have to go to AEW. Why?
no right
Why? Because it's
exactly.
new. Why?
Yeah, well, yeah, and two, it's like it's a new kid in town, and
Yeah.
and to be fair, there are a lot of like matches that people would like want to see Cesaro in against a Kenny or like whomever over there. So in that I can completely understand, but as I said, just just not everyone's priorities are going to be the same compared to everyone else there. Um, so yeah, oh yeah, what did you think of everything that happened with like with like Bianca tonight?
Um. I mean, I didn't. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
It was what I mean. She she just still looked like a star to me. It was just a good promo. She didn't have to wrestle unless she's obviously probably going to fight Carmella, beat
Mhm.
Carmella,
I just
and
pray, Matt.
just
I
looked
just
good.
pray that they don't pull a Charlotte Flair here and add Carmella to this match at WrestleMania,
I don't
because
think no,
I would not put it
no.
past them. I
Man,
would not put it past them
you're a
though.
stickler in my with the
Uh,
Charlottes.
I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past them.
No,
I'm just saying I would not put it past them. I don't want to see it, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I don't know.
And not to mention the fact it makes zero freaking sense
They're
that
not
she.
going to do it.
I, I hope so, but yeah,
No.
similar with Edge here. Um, I wasn't really expecting an answer, and she pretty much said, I will, I, I will make a choice soon." And I guess it was pretty funny seeing her like parents' reaction
Yeah, I
when
saw that
she
before.
won that.
Yeah.
That was like you could just tell how excited and just just how I'm happy that they were. So like that was cool. But I was surprised though, I think after tonight, Rhea I think is going to be over on like Monday Night Raw,
Mhm.
and I'm starting to think they're probably are going to be doing her versus Asuka. I feel like that's really the direction that they're going because it really does seem like with Charlotte that she's gonna be tied up with her father
Yep.
and like Lacey, which I'm hoping is the case because that would be something really, really fresh in hell. Rhea and Oscar could really have a show,
I'm not,
a show.
I Night Stealer. I'll say Night. I'll say Night Stealer,
Yeah, like that.
depending on what
Like
night it's on. Yeah.
hell, like that. If we're thinking about this like future card between Edge, and Roman, Sasha, and like Bianca, Asuka versus Rhea, and whoever like number 2 is facing, whether it be a like Brock Lesnar or whomever, like that's WrestleMania is looking pretty damn um not too bad. Like
Yeah, the top it looks pretty damn good.
right, like this would be a card that I would be legit excited for the first time in quite some time. Now we should hopefully find out what's going to be happening soon. But what was I getting at? Um, so yeah, Rhea. So I would hope that she's gonna be over on like Raw because I have a feeling they'll probably add her for the elimination chamber
Mhm.
match there.
For the women.
I feel like that's probably where they're going. But then again, until like Bianca actually makes a choice here, they could just like have Asuka defend her title though to within there as well. So I'm kind of interested to see where things are going to go because
I,
because obviously she isn't going back to NXT.
no,
Um,
I, I think both sides, both men and women, I think both chambers should be the number one contender for the other one.
Mhm.
And it's mostly going to be all pans out the Raw side.
Yeah.
Because I figure you're going to have probably Drew and Sheamus
Right.
fight for the title. So you get the chamber match for the number one contender, whoever that may be.
Right.
You got SmackDown, the Raw side. I wouldn't have Asuka. Maybe she fights that night against whoever. But I think you put Rhea. I would have Rhea, Charlotte, Lacey Evans, whoever is left in that,
Mhm.
and Rhea wins. I mean, how
And like Naomi,
Naomi,
yeah,
Naomi is
yeah.
in. Is Natalia on Raw or SmackDown?
She's on SmackDown.
SmackDown. Okay, maybe like a Shayna or whoever.
Shayna, Mandy Rose. If you're really good and desperate,
Well, she's 6. You got Rhea, Charlotte,
Nia Jax,
Lacey Evans,
yeah,
Nia Jax, Shayna, and then Naomi. Okay, that's 6.
yeah.
So there you go. Not a bad elimination chamber by any means. And then you have Rhea coming for basically.
Yeah.
If she debuts,
I feel like
wins.
I feel like that she is the only option. It's the only decent option. Charlotte and like Asuka does absolutely nothing. There is zero heat there to want to, or desire from really anyone to want to see that again, unless you are a Charlotte a Charlotte fan account there, of course, but it's just I have zero desire to want to
No,
see that
I think
again.
it's right. You get both finalists in the Rumble.
Mhm.
Basically make it in a way you could say it. I don't say it cheapens a Rumble win, but at the same time, the Rumble winner picked and could pick whoever.
Right,
But
exactly.
Rhea had to go through elimination chamber, and
Mhm.
Bianca just had to lay down in the corner and hide for for half the match.
Exactly.
So that's good two ways to build your future stars. One wins the elimination, one wins the Rumble. Both were finalists. Both
This
come in
and
and win
this
the championship, similar to a WrestleMania 21 with Batista and Cena won.
Mhm.
There
Yeah,
you go.
definitely this year, this company really needs to focus on building new people. Damian Priest, Bianca, Rhea, um, guys like Keith Lee, and Biggie, like they need to start to churn out some more people here.
They're they have good first steps. The
Yeah,
foundation is there.
the foundation's there,
What are you going to build?
exactly. But we have seen
Oh,
this
that
so
was
many times.
philosophical. I got to write that down.
Yeah, but we've seen this so many times be format. Like they'll do
Yes.
good for about a few weeks or a few months, and then they'll just either get like bored and they'll go back to you know, Randy Orton or some like veteran or some name who we have seen in the same spot over and over again. So like it's time to finally make that move there, and that's what I'm hoping that we're going to get. And This kind of brings up in a guy in Seth Rollins, and I'm just trying to kind of think where is he going here, and just based on what happened at the Rumble, I think we're gearing for him versus Daniel Bryan at like WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
think that's
Or
probably where we are going there. And to me, that undercard match should be really good. Like there are a lot of really good potential undercard matches this
this
year.
can I can see something along the lines of Rollins saying you're losing your way, you're
Yeah,
losing, blah blah
right,
blah. Join me and I'll take you to the promised land, whatever.
right, right.
And I think that just I think it writes its. I mean, I know nobody likes the Rollins thing, but I mean
Mhm.
it's there. The
It's
foundation's there.
it's there, and to me, like that will get Seth.
SmackDown can make it work because it's a SmackDown.
They can, but I could also see with the way that they are building up Cesaro as well. I could see them doing Seth versus Cesaro
True.
too. So I would
Nakamura
be
is there. Nakamura is lingering
Nakamura.
too. What are they
Um,
doing with him?
Honestly, though, I think I would probably either
I
do
see.
like no Roman for the short term chamber and like Fastlane too. I mean, like you still
True.
have that there as well. Like as far as like short term feuds are concerned, but it also does seem like him and KO are like are never going to end their feud here. So I don't know what's going on
There's,
here.
there's SmackDown. There's a lot of on the SmackDown
Options.
side, more options to go.
Right. Yeah. And
And
that has been the like pretty good thing is like hell like Roman has options on these like lower tiered shows here, you
the
know.
stepping stone pay-per-views, the Mania.
Exactly.
How and then you got people like uh that triple threat match for
Mhm,
IC title, which I thought was excellent
mhm,
between Big E, Sammy, and Apollo. A
mhm,
couple people were saying Apollo came out there looking good, at least in the ring.
mhm,
Obviously, he didn't win.
mhm.
Uh, but Sammy's doing fun. I'm entertained by Sammy. What he's doing.
And something else I was thinking about too is they could also do Seth versus Big E too for the IC title. I could see that as well. There. And
There's
if you really
history that is,
and
yeah. I think you were
there's
going
history
there.
and to me that would be a really good WrestleMania match for like Big E
Yeah.
and singles.
Him and uh Big E and Cesaro, just the powerhouses there.
So,
Um,
Big E versus Christian, baby. Big E versus Christian. Let's go.
there's there's a lot of all these options we've said.
Mhm.
Not one of them I would say at.
I don't hate, honestly. Like, honestly, there isn't something that I just like. Oh, I'm going to absolutely freaking dread.
There's
That
not like, why'd you put that in the universe?
yeah, it's just like it. I wouldn't be against that sort
No,
of thing.
any of them, would do.
Right.
Would be suffice in any
Yeah.
combination between. Yeah,
It's now if they do say Edge versus Finn Balor or Edge versus McIntyre, that's where I'm gonna be like, that is freaking dumb. And
to me,
I get
the Edge and McIntyre, nothing against Drew, but that's like 3 out of ranked number 3.
right.
Yeah, I think it's obviously Roman. There was, I think I saw a rumor it'd be nice if they did this. Is there a takeover at around Mania today?
I want to say yes, but I don't think that they had one last year, and there was a unconfirmed report that they might be having
Yes.
having the NXT title being defended on like WrestleMania, which I think that would be a really good spot for Karrion Kross and Finn Balor.
And fit Karrion Kross and Scar, that entrance in that stadium.
Absolutely.
Like add that to like the top tier one of those nights.
Right. And two, I do not think we are going to be getting a takeover this year just because of like WrestleMania being on like 2 nights.
Right.
And they'll probably have a Hall of Fame
Friday. Nobody's doing it.
Or actually no, because I think they're probably are going to be having a Hall of Fame ceremony probably on that Friday night, would be like my guess in some form.
What about SmackDown?
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about SmackDown.
Or they do it Thursday night.
Yeah.
Or something.
Thursday. Yeah. It's just like there is like no room for NXT this year. So
it would have to be like the week before.
Right. I definitely think that's going to either happen a few weeks before Mania or basically right after like WrestleMania. So I am expecting that title to be defended there, and to me, the only option is Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross.
There. They're waiting until they finally meet.
Right.
So if they do it in Mania, that's
like I tell you, man, that freaking undercard looks really promising this year. So, and to just close out on SmackDown, Matt, pretty much what closed off SmackDown between Edge and like Roman, not exactly what I expected, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting Edge to say, to say, yeah, I'm choosing you. They were going to be not like doing anything there, but I was surprised to see KO come out and lay him out because I don't know what else you can possibly do with those two there.
Right. And then that's, I think, the only way you can get out of Edge not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And them and Roman attacking Edge.
Right.
Because in a way, it's logical because they're still feuding. It's not like one random person came out. And then maybe that's just one last shot from KO to get back. And then, like I said in the beginning, um, if you watched NXT, Edge wanted to wait till after Takeover and watch Pete
Right.
Dunne and Balor. So
Right.
going into it, if you have any wrestling sense, you knew it's not going to happen. And just history says more times than not, nobody's actually going to say it the first week.
Yeah, I agree there as well. So yeah, guys, that was SmackDown. Now we're going to briefly go over like Monday Night Raw, which I gotta say, Matt, this wasn't a terrible show. It wasn't a great show
Yeah.
by any
The second hour to me was, I think, the downside.
yeah.
For the most thing, first and third are all right. But
But compared to
to
like to what we normally get, this wasn't so bad. But I guess say, Matt, the very first, the opening segment between like Drew and Edge, and I'm like saying to myself, why are they having Drew kissing Edge's ass? Like, I get it, he has profound respect for him, blah blah blah. I'm just like,
I
not exactly what I wanted to see here, you know?
I think it's just I'm guessing, and this is my rationale for it. The stark contrast between, Drew,
And the
like,
Roman,
why would it, in Roman, like, if Roman, screws you, is an ass, like, and Drew's not, you obviously want to go after Roman.
right? And I just think that the
I think it's just Drew being the babyface champion. Like, what are you gonna like?
yeah, it's just like it
Get it,
really,
but
yeah, it just really came off as like he wasn't a real viable option, and like Edge kind of like treated him as so just by what he said to him. He just said, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, I could be a guy who can take that title from you. Like, you can't be so so so
yeah,
soft here,
I think it's what we saw this week is three Edge segments, all telling well, obviously three
Mhm.
different stories.
Exactly.
Edge talking to Drew, being badass, but like, hey, the babyface, hey, get that fire and all that, even
Mhm.
though he
Yeah.
does. And NXT, showing respect,
Mhm.
comparing himself to Pete Dunne,
Right.
in seeing the fire in Balor's eyes, and
Mhm.
in saying that NXT is what got him on the map. And then
Yeah.
SmackDown, to a lesser extent from Edge, more so how it's a stark contrast seeing how Roman's taking it,
Right.
and then Roman's opinion and being disrespect because Edge wasn't there on time. So they're telling three different stories, which I like, you know,
Yep.
just a different aspect on each champion and how Edge sees
But
champion.
yeah, and the only problem I see from this is it's like, well, it's pretty clear which one should
Right.
really be chosen here, and this out of all three of them was by far was their like weakest angle here, because it's like, well, okay, I don't really want to see this now. It's just like, because it kind of came off that like WWE doesn't really want to see this. So I'm like, okay, so then obviously
Sheamus
as
and Sheamus comes out, and
yeah,
I
and and
it seemed out of place. Sheamus came out and was angry, and
yeah, it made zero sense here. I'm like, okay, like, what changed within the last week or so? Not to mention, Sheamus has been losing constantly, and I believe actually that like Sean Ross Sapp said that I don't think Edge has had a pinfall win since October, which is what going on like
you mean,
four or
Sheamus.
singles pin
Yeah.
since October or something. It's been it's like been a like wow essentially. So it's like so I'm not really excited to see this match, especially at like WrestleMania. Like to me, this would feel like just such an undercard match for Drew here. I'm really hoping for his sake that they have someone with a like bigger name. Like I mean hell, like whether it is a like Brock or just someone who
Yeah.
I'm gonna really get interested in, because to me Sheamus and
I-
whether it's Sheamus or Keith Lee, it just does absolutely nothing for me
I
here. You know?
well, I don't I don't believe that Sheamus is WrestleMania. I think it's the
No.
bridge gap
Yeah,
for the 1 or 2 pay-per-views before Mania to get there, and then somebody else is built. The only thing I would say Keith Lee, but I mean, in the last 2 weeks he's been quarantined because
Yeah.
me and him has it, so that kind of screwed any possible building that could be possible. The only problem is that there is no. Here's the difference between Raw and SmackDown, and here's one reason why SmackDown is better. We talked about it. SmackDown. How many people can you say can feud? They can feud with Roman, and
exactly. And like you'd be okay with, you know.
and you think, even though they're not going to win,
No.
have a somewhat better shot, booking wise, you could do it.
Nakamura and Cesaro have been actually winning matches. Like they are winning consistent matches where you look over on like Raw, who is
nothing consistent.
like, you know, quite literally the only guy is AJ, but the problem is he already beat AJ at like TLC, so it's like, okay, like who cares to see that there? I mean, like who else?
It's the only because I don't want to see Brock again.
No.
Me,
I don't either, but
for
to
Drew, but
me, who else is there?
right. I don't want to see it. We're not as excited to see it.
Like
AJ is pretty much the only.
Where do you go?
Kind of AJ, but yeah.
It might have to be him because as I look at and at this point, Matt, AJ he doesn't have a like WrestleMania match. He might be the only option there, which is kind of underwhelming if I'm being perfectly honest there. And as you look, everyone else is like, well, this is kind of the situation that they put themselves in.
I know the match is going to be good. I'm excited for the match.
Yeah, that's fine, but interest wise, who cares? You know,
as it stands right now, it's nothing. Thing. Yeah. I mean, could you build it to make me care? Yes,
maybe. But
as it stands now, I'm like, to me, there's Drew,
mm-hmm.
and then there's Drew, and then on everybody else.
Yeah,
right now.
But someone who I am interested in though, Matt, is Damian Priest. This honestly, they are handling him so far so good.
So it's one night.
It's like one night.
But don't put the carriage in front of the horse here, John.
But hell, Matt, I mean, if you recall when Keith Lee debuted on night 1, where he came out to that awful theme music, was wearing basketball shorts and or
tennis, it looked like a tennis skirt. It wasn't. It was shorts, but they were so baggy.
And he lost via. Or no, he won via a disqualification against Randy Orton. It's like, wow, like that's how we're gonna bring in Keith Lee there. So already he's already off to a way better start here because now, Matt, we see he's gonna be involved in a pretty decent first feud here. He's gonna be
The celebrity,
yeah, like to me, I mean, to me, for a like WrestleMania, this is perfect. Or hell, if they even decide,
you know that he's gonna win.
right? I mean, hell, if they either did that or him versus Lashley, I'm fine with that. Like to me, like those two options right there, I would be perfectly fine
Yes.
with. But
Him and Lashley, that's a match I would want to just on paper without any booking. That's an undercard match I can watch.
He's one of the actual
He's tall.
few guys who I could buy actually beating him right now.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to see that, and his and like his entrance at like WrestleMania, that's gonna be cool. I'm really
I foresee them doing some, not extravagant, but over, more, what's the word? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Give them more enhanced. There you go. Let's go in enhanced.
And in my opinion, Matt, if there's a guy that like you want to actually be able to take the title off of Drew, it's him. It's Damian Priest.
I feel like that could be, if you bring it out at SummerSlam.
At SummerSlam, that is exactly what I want, because if you just look at everything on that brand right now, where else? Who else?
I can see maybe after. I could see maybe after Mania, Lashley winning at some pay-per-view. I don't
money.
I think
money.
And it's at June.
Yeah. May is Extreme Rules, I think.
Payback,
maybe it might be that. Or actually no, because I think that happened after SummerSlam last year. But yeah,
I don't know. I lose track of
right
anymore,
but
because they change.
Oh yeah. So we'll see what happens with that there. And then you look at the landscape with like Raw's women's division right now, and like this week we had a triple threat to determine who would face Shayna and like Nia for their tag titles. Matt, how many times is Charlotte going to like react to like Flair
once a week?
And yeah, it's like it's literally every single match that she has, he always has to come out right in the middle of the freaking match. Like, I mean, like freaking laziness with this feud here. I just how many times do we want to see that? And then what actually happened here? Charlotte is so frustrated, so disgusted. She just tags out, and then Asuka eats the pin for whatever reason. They couldn't have anyone else in this match eat the pin. They couldn't have Dana Brooke or Mandy.
Yeah.
No.
Asuka,
the freaking champion, is eating the pin. It just freaking baffles me just how poorly this company just books their champions, not named Roman Reigns and like Finn Balor. Like it just
the tag team champions on SmackDown won tonight.
No, okay, yeah. It just man, it is frustrating.
Lashley kind of didn't lose it.
No,
I say I
like world champions, more specifically.
Fair. Big E.
Well, like he's like mid card, so but yeah,
I'm going champion. But okay, but your point is overall in the last how many years, touche. That's probably. But I'm saying more just it's the booking on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
is just
Shit.
there you go.
Shit. I mean, like it's just like they don't get you excited about anything from either. I mean, outside of like Damian Priest, it's like, whew.
I've got Xander here saying one person might face McIntyre Mania would probably be the Fiend or whatever his reincarnation would be. He comes back and finishes his feud with Orton at one of the pay-per-views before Mania.
Even that, I'm not
It's
dying.
One of those things. Does the Fiend need the title? It's one of the things. If he wins it,
no,
I don't think he should, because if he wins it, how does he lose it?
Exactly, and that's and to me, they are definitely building to like Orton versus yeah. I do not see that happening at Elimination Chamber or whatever
or finishing. I mean, to his point, I mean, we saying who can you face that's built up enough. Fiend is one, but I don't. You don't do that.
No, and I definitely agree with that. So it's like kind of where you go there, and we'll see. But yeah. So like, what were you talking about?
Before,
before.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Raw booking was crap.
Yeah. And to continue that, New Day versus Retribution again.
I thought it was technically just Xavier, but
like how many freaking matches between these people are we going to see? It's just like it's just recycled just every damn week now, and man, it just who cares about any of this? I'm still shocked that this group hasn't just been disbanded at this point, but any thoughts on that there, Matt?
No, I pretty much agree with what you said, that I don't know. It's kind of just like, oh, there's your weekly Xavier Woods versus a member of Retribution match, and
and we saw like Riddle get his ass just handed to him against like Lashley, and like they were playing up a like concussion or like head trauma angle here, so like that's continuing, and man, this feud I swear is like never ending here,
right? But the only good thing that came out of it I can see is they made Lashley look like a badass,
right?
Like, he didn't look weak. So I mean, that's the bonus out of this week.
And something else I saw too is that MVP is like consistently losing more and more control within that group. So I still don't understand why they're splitting these guys up. It makes zero sense to me why they would put these guys up already when they.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just like what's the benefit here?
This is like Garza and Andrade teasing splitting up for like a month or two, and they got back together, and then they split up, and had tension, and then I don't know. But that was immense facing the Street Profits for the 5,000th time in a row, or some form or fashion. We saw Carlito and Jeff Hardy beat Elias and Jason Riker. Carlito looking as good as ever.
Freaking
jacked, still can go in the ring. This would be the point if there was fans, if you still got a chance.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long Carlito is around, and at least in front of the camera wrestling, because similar situation with MVP. He came in, it was like a 1 week thing, and then I guess they were impressed, and now look what MVP's doing.
I feel like he's probably is going to be signed on some short term basis here. So we'll kind of see where that goes. Um, and let's see. Oh yeah, and the last thing we can probably touch on here, Matt, is Edge and Randy Orton. I think this pretty much closes
Yeah, I think
anything.
even. Oh, go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that this essentially closes this year, which I'm kind of happy about, and the
I think
fact
he
that
even said that, like,
yeah,
interview or something, that he wanted to do it. They were planning it at Mania, like I quit match, but he wanted to do it here, and there's the
yeah,
idea to, possibly win the Rumble and possibly win.
yeah.
Which I think that's the
And
best
it's
thing.
just like, and it's just like Orton has lost so much heat now, and he just there isn't that desire to want to see this
And then,
again. You know?
even much, he's in the feud with the Fiend and Alexa right now,
Right.
so it wouldn't make any
Exactly.
sense.
No.
Like, how you don't end, this feud with the Fiend and Orton at
Right.
Fastlane.
No. No.
You
So
ended you ended for good
well,
at Mania with whatever they're going to do. Um,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a. I don't know if it's be an actual match or a cinematic match.
I
I can
feel
see
like
that.
I feel like that the only thing that really makes sense is
Yeah,
is a cinematic match,
cinematic
but at
match.
the same time, too, I'm sure that like Orton probably wants to be in front of an actual crowd though, too. So it's like
True. I will see that.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
and
we'll see what happens. So yeah, guys, that was Raw, and we'll just move on to
that was probably the longest time we talked about Raw
yeah,
in a
well,
long time.
yeah, absolutely. But now we're going to move on to NXT here. Since we're kind of already talking about them. So yeah, NXT this week. Matt. The first thing I gotta say is, and this was like when it came on Thursday, were the freaking ratings for this. And I know you don't exactly like talking about this, but the fact that this show with Edge showing up, advertised by the way, did only 610,000 viewers and didn't even rank in the top 50 was just
I
astounding to me. Like
you know,
I
I think because you had 100 compared to the week before,
right
about 100,000 people, you could say, switch from um,
AEW,
NXT to
yeah,
AEW, and it's
yeah,
probably because they had the beach break
right,
uh,
yeah.
special that
Well,
was always going to have a head start.
mhm.
Uh, I think just that crowd, that the younger audience, um, while not hating on Edge, I think it
No,
has more
well,
interest on the AEW show. Now, if it was like last week, I think maybe it'd be closer. I think it was just that the
I
special.
also I also think too. I don't feel like that a lot of people really believe that they were gonna that he was going to actually choose to face who was ever going to exactly win that match. I think that had some partial thing to him do with it, but yeah, it's just with everything,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it
with
was
everything, yeah, with everything that that Tony Khan had like lined up for that show, it was gonna be hard, but man, still 610,000. But that being said, the show it was a like decent show still. I think well, like we pretty much have a good idea. Obviously, who are probably are going to be in the finals. For the men's uh of the of the um of the Dusty Cup there, Matt. I gotta think it's gotta be MSK versus Champa
Mhm.
and like Thatcher. I think that's the feud that makes the absolute most
Yeah,
sense here.
I think it has to be.
Yeah, and like as much as I love them, the like the grizzled young veterans, I just don't think it makes a ton of sense for them actually to actually pay those guys, especially after they pinned Roddy and Adam Cole clean there, because
Mhm.
I think it's going to be very hard to convince anyone. Okay, you can absolutely pin them, but you can't pin these guys. So I think that's probably where they should go. And I'm kind of torn on who should actually win this tournament. Between those two teams there, between
Yeah,
MSK and Thatcher and Champa.
I, yeah, I really don't know. I can see any of them winning, and I'll be okay with any of them winning. I
Right.
just interested to see if, depending of who wins, where they go with that.
I mean, like I feel like it would be okay if MSK does win, as long as they have a like really good showing.
Yeah,
Like to
I
me,
think I think that I think at the minimum that will happen. I don't think
right,
they're not going to have a good showing against them.
right. And I think a tag team title feud with like Thatcher and Ciampa versus Oni and Danny Burch. I would be very interested in seeing that. That would be extremely intense. I
Mhm.
can tell you that much. And I kind of like where things are going with like Champa and Thatcher right now, and I think that they would be really good tag team champions. And of anything else in this tournament, tag team wrestling is definitely flowing more there. And as you look on the like female side, Matt, to me, I don't think any other team should win except for Raquel
Yeah, because
and
she again,
Dakota
yeah,
Kai. Yeah,
again she looked dominant with
yeah,
the win
exactly.
this week, getting the pin with her choke slam that always looks
Devastating. Oh
devastating,
yeah,
especially with on Canzaro, how small she is and compared to
and
Raquel.
man, like Matt, her finisher looks really not safe to me. I've seen it a few times. She's going to like definitely hurt herself at some point doing that. You know,
Yeah, it looks like she doesn't. She's doing it, and it looks like she has no idea where she's going to land.
exactly. And two,
It looks like
how
she
she landed
lost it every
exactly.
week. The first time looked devastating, but this time it's like it something bad is going to happen.
Well, yeah, and two, how she landed on like a Raquel, that did not look um good. I'll just say that. So, I definitely think that at some point she's going to need to change that, and I definitely think if she gets called up, she ain't doing that no more. I will be very surprised if they okay that. But so yeah, they advance there. And I believe from the other match, it's Indy and Candice
Candace,
versus Shotzi and Ember Moon. I will be shocked if Ember and Shotzi are not in the finals there. I feel like that really makes sense because I can't see them
two heels.
having like yeah. So I think
Yeah,
that's probably where they're going. How about you?
yeah, I would assume that's where they're going. Just I think it just makes the most sense that you need a face to the heel team.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think that's where I would go.
Mhm.
I don't. I know Candice and Indy have had some momentum
Mhm.
later weeks, just storyline wise, not necessarily the tournament.
No.
But yeah, I would do Amber and Shotzi.
Mhm. And Matt, I was just thinking about this as well. Since like Shayna and like Nia are currently tag team champions, I could very easily see like Shotzi and Ember winning just because of that alone there. But it's like do they want to have Ember and Shotzi have having that that spot there against those two, or do you want to see like Raquel facing up against
I think the
against
only way,
Shayna?
yeah, I think the only way you get out of it is Dakota takes the pin,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
which it doesn't
which
hurt Raquel.
yeah,
She's
it
taken
doesn't.
out. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, Ember and Shotzi. I mean, Ember's been on the main roster. She's
Mhm.
got name recognition. Shotzi. I mean, she was in the Rumble, but not
Right.
too long. Um, again, it's a thing with Dakota and Raquel or heels, and you have Nia and Shayna clear heels. So
Right.
that face team, yeah, I think I would go with Ember and Shotzi to win it all as
Mhm.
it stands.
Right. Um, Karrion Cross. Him, and obviously, Scarlett staring down, Santos Escobar,
Yeah,
which you kind of had the feeling that they were teasing something there. It just Karrion Cross is just going to beat the living hell out of Escobar at some point. And as I told you last time, Matt, it's like pissed off. Karrion Cross comes off like between him and like Reigns are like the two perfect guys in playing that super intense, pissed off wrestler that you can absolutely buy, who can kick anyone's ass. Like so like, and I think this is probably something good in the short term for Karrion Cross until he eventually has his title
mhm.
shot. So the only thing I'm not crazy about is like, well, it's like, well, Escobar isn't beating him, and you can't have Escobar get pinned clean. So not exactly sure how they're going to exactly poke this, but I think for something in the short term, it at least has my interest. It's definitely Escobar's highest profile match since he's been in NXT. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it would be, even though he's gonna die. But still,
even
um,
though even though
he's
he's
gonna
gonna die.
die. Um, you had for some reason I missed this. Edge fist pump Bronson Reed
Yeah,
before he left, so that's another
yeah.
like
And
push.
then he confronted Karrion Cross backstage too. I was like, just like Edge is like constantly just eyeing out younger talent like him. He did the same thing with like Damian
Freeze.
Priest.
And well, not so much younger talent in Shinsuke, but
But
well, and in a slight way to uh oh my god, Jesus,
on like which brand?
SmackDown.
SmackDown. I'm like Nakamura.
No, before right when he first arrived. Oh my god,
Look, I'm Sonya.
Showing? I couldn't think of it. I knew
Sonya.
it started with an S. I was thinking Shane. I was like, no, it's not Shane, it
No,
dumbass.
it's Sonya.
It's
Yes.
shown, yeah, Sonya. Like that's that slight thing, even though obviously it wasn't the big thing, but it was something. I still like Karen's like, hey, think about it because I'm going to be the champion. It's not going to be done. It's not going to be Bowser. It's going to be me. So
And like you forget how tall both of those guys are. You're like, Jesus, like because like Karrion is a
I'm
good,
looking at the thumbnail right now, and it's even.
yeah, like because Karrion Cross is a good 6'3", 6'4". And I was like, damn, Edge, he really is like 6'3", 6'4". I just never thought Edge as like that tall, but man, like they were, and I mean that would be something I would gladly see. But man, I mean, like, and just thinking of of carrying Crossman, him versus Reigns would be just
down the line. Yeah,
badassery. Like
just
man,
beat the holy hell out of each other.
Like a
two men,
good old hoss fight, a good old hoss fight there. So yeah, and speaking of Edge, obviously his segment with like Pete Dunne and Finn Balor, and we kind of talked about this already, but basically Edge said like, you know, NXT is what like brought him back and what motivated him to eventually to get cleared and fight for his dream here. So for that, I felt like that this was a good segment, and also this also made official as well for NXT Takeover Vengeance Day, as they are branding it as, on February 14th. Finn Balor will be defending his title against Pete Dunne. So yeah, no complaints here, Matt. I still do not believe whatsoever that like Edge is going to be facing Balor, but but this was a really good segment here.
Yeah, it's a good way to like have the possibility, you know, tell the story, because you know, obviously, it's okay to be predictable, but you know, telling a good story in the meantime, like you have to tell it. You have to make it seem reasonable. You're not. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
You tell the story to get to where you think obvious where you go. It's like watching a movie. Like, I think I know where this is going, but you can still enjoy the movie,
right?
Or TV show.
Yeah. And also EO, Tony and like Mercedes, they will be facing each other in a like triple threat at Takeover as well. I do wonder if they might put the title on Tony here, but I kind of feel like that they should have EO retain here, because I still do say that they need to put the title onto Raquel, because it's like,
I think she's the one who needs to take it.
Has to, because to me, you do not beat Rhea Ripley, and then
you don't pin EO in the War Games match.
Exactly. It's like, okay, why would we even think about putting the title onto Tony here? It just would not make a whole lot.
I don't see with Tony just yet.
Yeah, I don't either. And if I'm being perfectly honest, Matt, I'm not really crazy about her like heel run right now. Like it just, I feel like that something isn't really clicking with me. I'm not sure if like you feel the same way. Just
I don't think hasn't been really anything concrete yet.
Right, and that's kind of
the EO stuff has been something, but nothing's been fully developed.
No, not at all. So I believe Tony had a small match against like Jesse Camilla, which obviously ended in a disqualification when like Mercedes came down and she began fighting with Tony. It was pretty funny seeing EO just like sitting there like him, like I would
fight. Yes.
I was just imagining Peter Griffin being
I just thought of it. Yes,
like fight, yeah.
Yeah, your life means nothing. Wait, oh, what's like? Wait, I forget the line now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But that was what I instantly thought of. So yeah, that was also set up, and Matt, we also got it official as well. Johnny will be defending his North American title against Kushida. Um, at at take at takeover as well. I to me this is being set up for Kushida to be champion here, especially the build up that they have been doing between Johnny, Austin Theory, and like Dexter Loomis. And to me, Loomis is in that like Wyatt area to where like he doesn't need any titles, and it's kind of what we said earlier. It's like, okay, say he wins, how is he going to exactly lose? So I kind of feel that's where things are going there. How do you feel about that there?
About
Kushida and
yeah,
John.
yeah. I think I think definitely. I think Kushida. I think would have to win at this. I think it's time.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's that, and we also got confirmed he's coming back next week. God help me. I'm not saying his name.
Going to the moon, baby. Cameron Grimes.
Fucking nerd. So yeah, he's coming back next week. And then obviously the last thing, Matt, was Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa versus the Undisputed Era of Adam Cole and like Roderick Strong. This was a great match. These guys just beat the crap out of each other. I had a feeling that, I mean, it was kind of predictable to me, just because I just didn't think, well, they just added these guys here. I don't think that they're gonna have them, that they're going to
they wouldn't
lose here. So
no.
but that was my only small my small like nitpick about that there. So yeah, we have our finals. Oh yeah, and by the way, Matt, Ciampa slapping Zach Gibson or his tag partner was freaking hilarious for me, for whatever reason. He's just a freaking wild man, you know.
Yeah. One thing I want to add, we didn't cover. What did you see the video for what's her name? Tia Shaw, Tian Shaw, that the whole like Japanese history.
That was, I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, am I on the History Channel here or something? Like, it was.
I kind of like the Chinese backstory history of that. It gave it more of a reasoning.
Yeah, like she's like a female Wyatt here, if you really think about like just like and my question is, like, do you ever reveal who this person actually is, or I guess like I guess that they
besides
kind of
the name
already did,
but they you don't see what you kind of see what she looks like, but there's still mystery,
right? Definitely Zaya has something that should be good going forward for her, so we'll see how that goes. But all right. Yeah, right. But now, Matt, let's finish off this show by talking about AEW Dynamite. It was on like a beach break. Now, my question is to you, Matt. Did you see this episode? Did you find the time? I think
I had to YouTube it.
I had a feeling.
I got
So
you. But I got the gist of everything.
all right.
I'm going
Okay,
through it.
okay, so all right, so
And by your description of what it was, except for like the last part,
oh
maybe it was
god,
okay.
yeah, I gotta say, Matt, up until but I'll say this,
Up until the main event, pretty much,
yeah,
right?
outside of like Thunder Rosa and like Britt Baker
Yeah,
was the
saw
only
that.
other thing I really enjoyed on the show. Everything else was just I was not crazy about, but
Was
I was
there?
yeah, it was there. However, MJF is going to be taking over the inner circle, and I'm absolutely convinced this is happening at like Revolution. I'm expecting Chris Jericho is going to get his ass kicked when they eventually lose those lose lose that lose against the Bucks there. And if you saw everything going on with the inner circle in their like locker room, it's definitely foreshadowing that because even in that like in that like tag team battle royal there, Chris Jericho actually eliminated Sammy, which that just created more and like more tension there. Um, so and for that, but I gotta say, man, I'm as far as an actual match, not exactly pumped for the Bucks versus the
Uh,
inner circle.
I,
It,
I I watched that one. That seemed they seemed like the only really logical. If it wasn't the Bucks wanting to pick their
right.
opponent, I think
I was
they
like,
were the only logical choice
right.
at this point.
Well, and two, it's like they need to have something somewhat big to eventually kick out
Yeah, if
Chris Jericho, which
yeah.
I'm absolutely am expecting this, and I'm definitely expecting he's going to be going away for a little bit after that because eventually when that happens, I think he needs to be off of TV for the foreseeable future, and come back as a like baby face. I think that is where they should go. And I'm honestly I'm kind of looking forward for that. Just he has not looked particularly um like himself for quite some time now. And I'm pretty sure that you feel kind of the same way there, Matt, right?
It's yeah, his what he's been doing for the last several months overall
Yeah.
hasn't been like it wasn't beginning of AEW Chris Jericho.
No.
It
Really, ever since he
because
lost that title hasn't been the same.
then they went into the silly stuff. You can complain about the stadium stampede
Mhm.
and like his group wasn't as serious as it was initially. Like Santana and Ortiz weren't
I'll say
as
this, Matt.
used.
Once MJF is going to be taken over, that's going to be a completely different
One would
player.
one would hope.
Yeah,
We
like
we should.
they're going to be 100% serious. It's exactly what I'm going to be expecting. So,
Yeah,
so yeah, we got that set up. And Matt, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. I love this match.
from what I saw, yeah, that was. I'm picking back of what you texted me about the division taking it seriously. This was I can watch this. It felt like I could see this on an episode of NXT
right.
and that division. From the clip I saw, I'd like it was really enjoyable. It wasn't
and
Abaddon and
right,
Sheeta.
yeah,
This
and
was pretty
and
good. Yeah.
and for this tournament that they are having, if they are not going to be crowning Britt Baker as champion, then I literally have no idea what they're doing. Like, either her or Thunder Rosa need to be champion uh, right now.
Yeah, either
Better.
either of those two, I think we're
I
fine.
don't want to be seeing a like Joshi wrestler winning this title. Now the Rose, no, it's either Thunder Rosa or like Britt Baker. Now, I will say I think people such as like Ty Conti and Anna Jay, they are getting better. Serena Deeb, she can really work. So like they have some really good core of like women there.
Mhm.
But like to me, Sheeta really hasn't been a good champion.
It's like it's like I only see her like on pay-per-views.
Right, and to me, if you want to really grow that to to grow this division here, like to me it's between those two, and to me Baker is their most ready woman right now
You,
for
you
that.
need somebody established right now. You can't just put it on somebody
Right.
green. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like Chris Jericho winning the championship. You
Yeah.
somebody that's actually known,
Yeah.
has a reputation,
Hmm.
a bigger reputation right now
Hmm.
as Thunder Rosa or Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Either one works.
Right.
I think right now. Uh, yeah, I think you can go with. I'm not mad with either one.
No, I'm not either. And man, Thunder Rosa, she sold that freaking second that like that like that like turnbuckle spot like she freaking died there. Like
Mhm.
that was man, like it was slightly botched since she didn't exactly hit it, but that being
She didn't get as close as she probably wanted to.
right, but man, that was really good. Just to me, Thunder Rosa is just so far and clearly is by far their best performer there, like all around. Just consistently, like every single match she is in, it's always a really good match. And she just continues to just consistently prove herself as to why she is that damn good. So, and then we go from that match to this horse shit. The Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford wedding.
Wasn't this before? Wasn't I don't know if you're going over. Wasn't the
Yeah.
Hangman
Right.
Page and Hardy versus
Oh
Chaos Pride?
yeah. I completely forgot about this too. To be
Oh, that
honest.
makes sense. Well, when you said horseshit, I thought you're talking about
No.
the.
Okay. So yeah. That there. It just.
Was there?
It was there. Like nothing really happened. I mean, outside of like Hangman being angry at like Matt for taking a like pin
Mhm.
away from Hangman. That was it. Just like we're just constantly waiting for what's happening with this angle with Hangman. And like everyone is trying to like recruit him. And to be perfectly honest, man, as far as anything going on with him, um, the more interesting thing was what what happened on being the elite this week, where Anna Jay just laid it in into Hangman, being really pissed off at like how he just that he just really really steered them in the wrong way, thinking that like he would join. So like to me that actually had some form of them of them of them story or like progression there as compared with this here. So, but now getting on with that wedding there, yeah. I guess say this was as bad as I thought that it was going to be, but it was also extremely boring too. Like, quite frankly, none of these shenanigans really happened outside of like Orange Cassidy coming out of the freaking cake. And somehow like Miro did not feel Chuck ankling his his like chaining.
Oh, yeah,
his,
I
like,
didn't even think
ankles.
about that.
It's just like, how do you not feel that there? It just, that was like, okay. Like,
I don't know who the hell is this guy who officiated the wedding.
oh, he's like James Mitchell. He was actually in like TNA. Uh uh he was a very he was a like manager for Abyss for the longest time. But yeah, he was more known in like TNA there, but like it was funny how he was like presenting with like vows and putting like kayfabe and everything into there. But by far the funniest part about this though, Matt, was the crowd singing "What is Love."
I did enjoy that.
I was like, okay, that was good. But yeah,
I did kind of pop when Miro's like when they asked if anybody has any I was like, we've done this before, just go.
Yeah, just go. And then he see the like giant, you see like you see the giant present there. He was like, man, what's that? I don't like that. And he just tears this thing apart. And then obviously that's where he just magically he gets chained on the rope there, and Chuck and Orange Cassidy beat up Kip Sabian, and Penelope Ford, she goes through a cake, and nothing happens with like Miro, and he's still a freaking nerd. And this is not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for that Penelope and Kip would get married, and then Miro would just beat the ever living shit out of Kip. But man, I don't know what to say now about Miro now, man. I don't want to say he's dead, but man, I'm not going to argue with
one
anyone.
marriage to another marriage,
right? It's just like it's like why did you even bother signing him? I really don't know what they're really thinking with him right now. So like they better get something figured out as far as that is concerned. Then after this, we had Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston in a lumberjack match, and this was very good.
Okay, because I watched this, I went, is it me or this looks like just a cluster?
Yeah, it was a giant cluster. There's about 10,000 things going on, and it's just okay. Lance, he wins. Okay, I just did not. There was just so much interference going on left and right.
My thing was, they said, I swear when I watched, even in the clip, they said something like "as no DQ," right?
Well,
Stuff DQ stuff happened.
Like a lumberjack match, yeah. So.
But wait, who was it? But they got the ref. Eddie Kingston got the ref to go over to Billy Gunn and be distracted while either Bad Bath and Beyond, whichever, Blade, I think it was the Blade, in all seriousness, sets the table and he gets speared into it, or somebody gets speared into it. And I'm like, why distracted when obviously DQ stuff happened before?
Yeah, it's like it's like who cares?
Like Jake killed somebody of I forget the team name, of and Helico, or one of them,
Mhm.
of of them. Like it seemed like it was just a cut, and I just saw like uh Jake just kill somebody, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what is happening? And like I'm watching
Yeah.
it, I'm like, even
Yeah.
the clip, I know it wasn't the whole thing, but it was just like it seems like a fucking cluster.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that happened, and we also had announced on two night show as well, man. Shaq and Jade Cargill will be facing Cody and like Red Velvet on not on pay-per-view, thank God. They will be facing each other on like March 3rd's edition of AEW Dynamite. So happy that they decide
How do you
to,
drive this out to that?
yeah, and well, I think probably one of the actual main reasons why that happened is because on March 7th, is the NBA All-Star game, which obviously Shaq is going to be a part of. So that's probably why this is happening on Dynamite. But it's also to someone said, it's like, do we really expect those fans to seriously buy an AEW pay per view to see him wrestle here? It just like made it just made more sense there. So I'm not expecting that to be any good, but they at least made the right call here with that. So happy about that. Um, and then Matt, easily this is when this show finally gets pretty good here. And that is this did some six-man tag between Kenny Gallows and Anderson versus Moxley, Pac, and like Great Phoenix. I love this match. This was great. I love seeing Pac just beat the crap out of everyone here, and like Phoenix just going 10,000 miles per hour here was just great. What did you think about
From what I
this main?
saw, yeah, from what I saw, I guess it was the best thing besides the women's match.
Yeah,
Uh,
easily.
best, the clip, best match I saw. I really enjoyed what I saw. I expected really nothing less
No,
uh, from these guys. At least, at the very least, an entertaining match,
fair.
which we got. And then I think the big thing obviously happened at the end. Somebody comes and attacks
And then
Moxley, and it in a mask, takes it off, and it's
it's Kenta.
Kenta, who apparently won Money in the Bank, and it has the briefcase. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot it,
Like,
but yeah, but he's facing Moxley for the IWGP US Championship.
and
Uh,
needless to say, this got everyone going insane because it's like, well, guess who he is working for? This would be the first time that a contracted New Japan professional wrestler is appearing on AEW, and everyone was saying, "Oh, are we getting a working agreement?" And according to Uncle Dave here, um, he basically said that basically a like working relationship is essentially done at this point. Now I'm not expecting to see so much crossover just because of like COVID there. Um,
yeah,
but
and plus, you gotta watch how many crossovers you do
right.
because you're already doing with Impact. So
Well, I mean, they are only doing Gallows
yeah, you're already
and
doing
so
yeah, but it's
so
like
like
so many.
yeah, right,
I think you cherry pick who comes
right,
over. You can't. Oh yeah, you can't overdo it. Then what's the point?
right. And that has been the problem sometimes with these. It's like is like a company who is hosting this, typically sometimes another person's wrestlers overshadows their own company. Just look at like a Ring of Honor, and then with like New Japan, is like they just completely overshadowed anyone with that company there. But here you can clearly see, Matt, they have so many. AEW has so many of their own guys who are the clear front and center of the show, and other people are not like overshadowing them. But man, this is definitely going to be very interesting. I'm also interested to see when a like Okada or Tanahashi or Ibushi or some members of of the of the like Bullet Club show up. Is it going to affect like viewership at all? I'm going to say probably not, but at the same time, I'm really interested to see that. I don't think it's going to be anything bad or
No.
or anything. But how do you feel about this whole thing right now?
I think it could potentially be good. I gotta fix that later. Whoopsie daisy. I yeah, I don't. I think it can only be in the short term a good thing. At the very least, it gets people talking. For AEW. We'll see if it draws any eyeballs. I think it's more hardcore fan based than casuals because, like right now, I know sitting at home and or whatever, and Kanta on AEW. Who's that? We know it.
Yeah.
But
nobody
knows. But that's besides the point for that. But I think will it boost the ratings for them?
Maybe
depending on what they do.
Yeah, and actually, it was also announced for like next week. It's going to be a like Falls Count Anywhere lights out match between Kenny and Kenta versus Lance Archer and like John Moxley, which that is by far the only thing that I'm remotely excited about for like next week's show. Because man, if you see,
I see the three. I see the three. I didn't see that one, so that's news to me. But there's Darby Allin versus Joey Janela for the AEW TNT Championship. Why? Okay. Chris Jericho and MJF versus the Acclaimed. All right,
it isn't terrible. So
no, I mean it's a TV match. What do you go? And then Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. That's his last name. I forget who that is though.
It's like
one out of the three is
definitely adding Kenta. Yes. And Kenny versus Moxley and Archer. Really excited for that. That's going to be freaking insane. I'm also interested to see if we might see some other Japan people there because I believe that people such as like Jay White and I think Tama Tonga live in like Florida, so they can easily make an appearance there. So
I was like, do you want to do that so soon?
I mean, like, I wouldn't be.
You got Kenta.
Well, yeah, but
depending on what you do,
they have been like teasing some like tension with in the Bullet Club over here in
Right.
in in the like US, and obviously over um in in Japan there. So I would
Mhm.
be I would be fine with that, but as I told you, Matt, like up until the last half an hour, this show was very underwhelming, but absolutely saved it. So yeah, yeah, so that's pretty much, I think, everything that we had here. I'm
Yes.
trying to see if there's anything else that I forgot to talk about. Nope. So yeah, guys, I think that's going to do it for this week. We would like to thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you pay attention to episode 77 of our podcast is going to be dropping on the channel tomorrow at like 3 p.m. Going to be talking WandaVision,
Episode
our Super
4.
Bowl, or not, oh yeah,
Yeah, we're
that's right.
always a week behind.
Episode 4, and also we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl that is happening on Sunday, and we also talked a little bit about MMA and some talk about celebrities and professional wrestling. So definitely tune into that.
Mhm.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at 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 MJ Make a Podcast. And yeah, so for Matt, for John, we shall see you guys next week.